Animation is still sometimes considered as entertainment for children, but here in Cannes, that's not the case. Ari Folman's Waltz with Bashir was a groundbreaking moment at the festival in 2008. This documentary brings in animated images to recreate the Israeli director's memories of his time as a soldier in the Lebanese Civil War. It premiered in competition to critical acclaim. Now the filmmaker's turned his attention to a historical touchstone, Anne Frank. He joins us to tell us more.
With Uncle Boris.
Ari Folman, hello, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, your film focuses on a young woman who is a universal reference, Anne Frank, and you ask, where is Anne Frank? But I'd like to start by asking you, to us, in 2021, who is Anne Frank?
Anne Frank is the second biggest icon coming out of World War II. According to what I read with some brilliant historians, if you take a boy or a girl anywhere and ask them, okay, name two names, two words that you know in regards of World War II. The first one will be Hitler, and the second one will be Anne Frank. She's a girl in captivity who was hiding in a secret apartment. She wrote an incredible, splendid, unbelievable, artistic-wise diary, and she died. And she stopped writing. Most people will not know how she died, what happened to her, if she was Jewish or not. I mean, it was not mentioned in the Anne Frank house until, what, 10 years ago that she was even Jewish. So this is Anne Frank.
Up until a year ago, everyone was in love with me.
Everyone?
It was all so wonderful. Then everything changed.
We're leaving.
They told everyone we were to blame for all the world's problems.
This secret apartment is going to be our hiding place.
And I believe it was your own family history, in part, which persuaded you to get on board with this film, which you weren't so sure about in the beginning.
I didn't want to do the film. They offered me, and I said no, not Holocaust. I had enough, and I don't want to do it. And then they said they did the research, they knew everything about me. It was frightening. And no, I'm joking. But they said, okay, you read the diary again, you go back home, you see what happens. I read it, I found it as a father of 3 teenagers, incredible, unbelievable that a girl at the age of 13 wrote it. This is sensational. You don't see it, by the way, as a teenager. And then my mother, who is a Holocaust survivor, told me, and she's very Polish Jew, the cliche of the thing. And she said, look, we never interfere in what you're doing, so do whatever you want, but if you don't take it, I will die this afternoon. And you can come tomorrow and take my body. It will be neat and clean and bury me and everything will be fine. But it's your decision, you know, it's up to you. I said, okay, thank you. And she said, I will live, if you take it, I will live till the premiere. So she was 90 back then. I said, okay, I'm gaining here. I thought it was 4 years. I didn't know it will be 8 years. But she's still with us.
A very wise woman.
Yeah.
When you write, who do you actually write to?
To myself, of course.
I prefer to think of my diary as a girl. A best friend. Her name will be Kitty.
Kitty.
I like it.
Come down, Anne. I'm waiting for you.
Is he a boy from class? Of course.
Who are you talking to, Anne?
Now, the voice of Anne in your film is very evocative, really communicates her personality. I wondered how you went about the casting process and what were you looking for in that actress?
I think I saw, I don't know how many girls, but I thought I need to make a big difference between the girls. Emily, Carrie, who's playing the voice of Anne, should be warm in her voice colors, very super emotional, which she is. And Kitty should be her alter ego. She should be everything that Emily is not. She should be more provocative, you know. She should have guts, courage, and this is Ruby Stokes. I think both of them, by the way, will have great future as actresses, not just voices. They're already starring in major roles in Netflix series, so I think I made a good decision.
The way you built the film, it evokes the 1940s and also the modern day. And I wondered, what were the contemporary issues that you wanted most to engage with?
Look, I'll be honest with you, the refugees crisis was not in the original script. I had something completely different in the last act. But when this started, it was 2015, 2016, I rewrote the entire last act and I put it in. Obviously, we had so much trouble raising the money, so I had the time to do it.
Anne Frank is someone who has helped millions of people understand the horrors of war and persecution through her personal account. And that is something similar to what you did with the film Waltz with Bashir. It revisits your memories of serving as a soldier in the Israeli Defense Forces in the Lebanese war. That film was critically acclaimed here in Cannes in 2008 when it premiered. But you've said that your own memories were kind of fuzzy about that time. Were you a reliable narrator?
I'm not claiming to be a fully documentary, seeking for the truth because I don't believe it. In general, I don't believe the seek of truth in cinema exists at all. I think if someone shoots 60 days documentary movie and he ends up with 600 hours and he needs to edit a 90-minute movie, and he can decide about everything, there's no truth. And obviously there are different styles of documentary, but I always try to stay on the verge between reality and hyper-reality. And this is like the fields that I'm really interested in. And Bashir is not telling any story which is beyond my personal story. He doesn't try. He doesn't pretend. It's me and what was surrounding me, and this is it. And it deals with dreams and subconscious. It is what it is. This is the only cinema I know how to do.
Because of the subject matter and the necessarily political nature of that, Waltz with Bashir was banned in many Arab countries, including in Lebanon, where many of the events take place. I wanted to ask you about that sort of cultural censorship. It often grabs headlines, politicizes artwork, and there's a wider movement to boycott Israeli art in place. What sort of effects does that have, in your opinion?
Mainly what we see as boycott is artists not coming to perform in Israel. Bands, concerts, you know. This is how the Israelis feel it. And I'm not sure I have a clear opinion about it because I'm very left-wing, very liberal left-wing, and I don't know who banned us recently. Because the bands I like, they come, Pixies and Radiohead, they always come and I always go. I don't know, Morrissey didn't want to come. I said, okay. The people who would have gone to see Morrissey in a concert are very left-wing liberals. I mean, 90% of the audience. So he kind of punishes them in a way. I don't know if it's effective. To ban our art, what do you ban? If you want to ban a movie like this, that is a movie for children who tries to motivate them to be activists, to understand the horrifying stories about children in war zones in any time. What good does it make?
Finally, Anne Frank had a tragic story, but she's a truly inspirational figure from history. What do you think her greatest legacy should be for young people today?
I think that emotionally, what she did emotionally, when you read the original diary, about what it means to grow up, your adolescence, in captivity, is no one could have wrote it better than her. I think also the power of this story, that it has no violence in it, and it has no cruelty in it, and this is why it succeeded. You know, there were more than 2,000 diaries written in the Netherlands during World War II. I don't know if it's the best one, no one knows. But this is the one because of the persistence of her father, because of reasons I can discuss now for 3 hours straight. But this one worked because it talks about humanity, it talks about relationship, it talks about relationship between daughters and mothers that exist everywhere on the planet, you know, all the time. I see it at home. It does not change. And she did it so well, you know. This is why she won. This is why this one is the best. Because she was a great artist in the way she wrote.
Ari Folman, thank you so much for your time today.
This young lady here named Kitty is looking for Anne Frank.
Have you seen her?
Anne did not write this diary so that you could worship her. What is important,
Get in the truck.
do everything you can to save one single soul from harm. Just one soul.
What do you see, Peter?
I see the Allied forces. They're coming to liberate us. And you?
I see angels, Peter.